Hello and welcome to FIDE Women's World Team Chess Championship. Today is the day, the finals of the tournament. Today we're going to know who is going to be the champion of the world. And we have two teams to despise for this one. Team Russia, Chess Federation of Russia, and India. Those two teams have been the strongest. They have made it to the finals, and today is their day. Surprisingly or not, we are going to repeat the same final we had in the online Olympiad in 2020. And yeah, well, it is no it is true that on that tournament we couldn't find the team that would be the first, because both teams got the golden medals. As you remember, there were some frustrations here and there, but hopefully today, and I'm pretty sure that today is not going to be any question for that. We will have one and only one winner, and we will find it very, very soon. Let us take a look at the pairings we have here. The players already, they are announced, they are waiting for the games to begin. For Team Russia, we have Alexandra Garachkina, Alexandra Kostyuk, Katerina Lagno, and Alina Kashinska. For India, we have Harika Drunavali, Vaishali, Kulkarni Bhakti, and Mary Ann Gomez. What is interesting is that India is not in their, let's say, so to be best pairing they could be, because the strongest or the highest rated Indian player, Hampi Koneru, is not here. She's not present. She did not travel to this tournament, but well, India still managed to make it to the finals. So I'm pretty sure this team is extremely strong, and they have a very high chess culture. Also, chess has become even more popular recently in India. So yeah, one can even say that India might be the future chess power of the world. So women's team of India is extremely strong, and Russia will not have an easy walk, even though Russia is a clear favorite. We expect soon the games to begin, and yeah, that's gonna be very exciting, as we can see already on the screens. On the screens, we have soon the moves, and Alexandra Gavashkina is having white pieces versus Haruka Drunavali. Well, Alexandra is a clear favorite here. Many people say that Alexandra might be the future. I mean, not even the future. Well, she might be the actual strongest active, so to be, chess player of nowadays. Well, there is Ho Yifan, who is way higher rated, but she doesn't play much. She hasn't played any classical tournaments recently, I believe. And well, there is also Judith Polgar, but she doesn't play anymore either. She retired, I believe, from the last Olympiad, which was pretty. I mean, last Olympiad for her, it was in the I think something like 2012 or so. But I do recall Alexandra Grashkina having an opportunity to face Judith Polgar in one of Judith's last over the board tournaments, and that was a very big challenge back at that time. I think Alexandra lost that game, but she was very young at that time. And well, today Alexandra is the future queen, and that's gonna be not an easy walk for Harika. Well, Harika will try her best. Harika is also a very experienced player, a grandmaster. It's not so easy to be a grandmaster. And also, we all know that on the high level, chess is a drawish game, and draw is a most common result in the chess game of very strong chess players. And here it's the case. Well, so that being said, Harika needs to equalize. I would say, especially with black pieces, Harika does need to equalize her game against Garashkina. If yeah, I think that's the best strategy. Then let's take a look at the board too. We have Kostyuk versus Vaishali. Here, I actually would even give slight preference to India. I would say that Vaishali might be the someone who could actually surprise well, all the supporters and the commentators and Kostyuk, because if I remember correctly, in the very first game that they had, these two teams played in the round robin, and Vaishali was having a very big advantage, but didn't manage to convert it. And there we go. We already got the moves. So let us stick to the board number one. This is going to be the right order. So here we have this Queen's Gambit declined with transform into a Slav. That is interesting. And these are the moves. You can see that players play extremely fast. This is because it's all theory, it all well known. Here, the main move is bishop d3. Yeah, that is the move that we see on the screens. And I say we shall stick to this game until players will have their own. This is not the case yet. Oh, there are more than 1,000 games in the base in this opening. So yeah, it is it is still very well known. Everybody has been played. Ooh, is Grashkina thinking? Wait, there is. That is why she was thinking for a second. Look at this. We have Short Castle. This is more than 600 games, and Queen C2 is the second line with only 200 games and more. So might be a slight deviation. Now Haruka is thinking, and well, the most logical would be to put bishop on b7 or to castle short. We shall stick to this game a little bit more before we get a clear thought either Haruka is in the theory or not. We should also soon have the cameras from the playing hall as always. And in case you are wondering why this show today became a little bit earlier, in fact, we learned only this morning on a very late note that today's round was about to start 1 hour earlier. And that is why Irina is not here yet. She's in the United States time zone, and I'm in the European time zone. So yeah, it might be quite early for Irina. She might be still asleep because she was not aware, but she will join us very, very soon. And before that, let me suggest you to enjoy my company as much as you can. And getting back to the game, I see that Haruka is thinking, and that means that we are going to move. Today we're going to move a lot. So board number 2, we have Vershali versus Kosniuk. As I said, Vershali might be here the favorites. I mean, not on paper, definitely not on paper. Well, you can see 2,500 versus 2,100, but okay, this is rapid rating. Rapid rating is not a big deal, but yeah, well, it's not the rating that transforms that shows your strength. That's fine, especially because since like let's say last 2 years, there were no opportunities to play over the board rapid rated tournaments. And that is also why Vershali didn't have a chance to get the rating that she deserves. But still, she won't get 2,500. I don't think so, no, in rapid. So yes, of course, concluding my idea, Kostinuk is a favorite here, but Shali is very young and she's very hardworking. So I think something tells me that Vershali might be giving a very big upset here to Kosniuk. At least this is the biggest hope for India, I would say, considering what we see on other boards. Yeah. Okay, so d4. Like now, let's see what happened with the moves. Okay, so we have this Ruy Lopez, and this is all classical until a4. This is not the move that I am familiar with. It is line number 2. Let me remind you that the main line here is c3. This is what everybody knows and everybody plays. Here we have a4, b4, now d4. Ooh, that is getting exciting. Once again, most popular move here is d3. We've got d4, d6. Now we have, is this the current position that we have on the board? Yeah, d6. This is the position now Kosniuk is thinking. But no, now white is thinking. Now Vershali is thinking, ooh, we've got already the moves. So it's d takes e5 and knight takes e5. So here, starting from the beginning, let's say white decided to deviate first. So to surprise the opponent, but it might not be such a big surprise because we're pretty sure Chess Queen has a great knowledge of theory and she's aware of all those moves. Right, so this is the position that we have right now. Vershali is thinking. Also, we can see by the clock that Kosniuk is very well aware of this position. So let us move on. We have board number 3. Here we have Katerina Lagno with white pieces facing Kulkarni Bhakti. Yeah, Katerina here is a favorite once again. Russia is a favorite. Like on the paper, Russia is a favorite on all the boards. But we all know that chess is sometimes about luck, also about your, like, let's say, physical and psychological state of mind during the current day of the competition. So sometimes rating and even like the objective strength, objective level is not necessarily the factor, but what is a factor is how you play this particular game. Also, what is interesting, many players, like even very, very weak so to be players, can without any problem play one game like grandmasters. So once again, we will see also, there are the nerves. The nerves. It is the final match. It is the match where everything is decided. So once again, that is also a factor that could actually put Russia in a more that could actually put more pressure on Russia. And some players cannot necessarily hold this pressure of leadership, especially when it comes to the last round. So we will see. We'll see. I suggest there's going to be a lot of excitement. So stick to us. Here we have the Kurkan defense. This is my favorite one. I played with both colors, but initially it's my favorite one for black. And knight f6. Knight f6 is interesting because this is not the so to be the main line where we have 20 moves of theory like bishop f5, knight g3, bishop g6, and h4, h6. Then we go h5, bishop goes back, and so on and so forth. This is not the main line. This is knight f6. It became popular within, I would say, last 3-4 years. It became very popular. And sometimes black is going for this position in order to get some dynamics to maybe surprise white a little bit. So yeah, well, I need to explain you. Normally, here one would say, yeah, what's the reason to go to this position? Because you kind of have this double pawns and you do not have any pawn in the center, right? So objectively, from the pawn structure point of view, the position is clearly better for white. But no, here, thanks to these open files, like one open, one semi-open for black, the idea is to activate your bishops to put it on the king, and it can actually put a lot of pressure on white's king and the position in general. We're going to see. I say Kulkarni is going to show us. So queen c2, this is all well known. And here, yeah, this is the fancy move. This is the fancy move h5. I believe one of the first people to play it was, I would say, someone like David Howell, but of course this information needs to be checkable. I remember this. Yeah, you do need to check that one because this is just a guess, but I do remember some of his games and I remember talking to him about these positions. It's pretty interesting here. There are different approaches. For instance, if you go, let's say, king h8, there might be immediately either a perpetual or even white can play for a win. For instance, you do something like 97 here. In the worst case, white has a perpetual. But even if white gets ambitions or wants to be ambitious, he can by simply playing something like short castle and just play this position without a piece. And it is still equal. So it is pretty dangerous. Imagine when computer gives the evaluation as equal to the position where your king is, where you have an extra piece and computer gives a valuation equal. So it means that the compensation is really, really big because computer is very materialistic. He's not like human being saying, oh, there is initiative. No, computer doesn't understand initiative. Computer is like, I have a piece and I'm better. That's why I'm better. But here, no, it means that he sees some concrete lines. All right, so here we got h5. Yeah, to conclude, apart from king h8, there is also h6 here. Very nice, h6. And this is also a lot of theory. Like there are many ideas here, but the problem with h6 is that you cannot play g6 and f5 so easily anymore after, because then your h6 pawn would be pretty weak. So that's why some people do not play h6 who want to create some active play. And then we got g6, but g6, the problem is that you really need to be careful with this move. One can easily get themselves to the attack after h4, h5, and opening everything. And this position is really, really dangerous. Like let's say this, and then knight d7, then h5, knight f8, and so many more. But you can see when h file gets open, you are not happy here. And the fourth move that is possible here is h5. And the one, once again, as I said, this h5 move, I think, became popular only like 4 years ago. And before, people didn't know it because look at this. it is clear that white king is going to castle long, and you have already castled short. But yet, the strongest move for black here is to push the pawn in front of his own king, which means weakening the king. But in fact, no, this is a great move because it stops opening the files, because black has a good control here tactically, and if white doesn't manage to open the files, then there is no attack. So yeah, this is a paradox, and I really love it. And this is what we have in this position. I have played myself like this. I have played in this position with white and black once again. So h4, even what is interesting, yeah, that white decides eventually to castle short, and then the pawn advances till h3. Well, it would like to advance there, but you have to stop it. You really have to stop it. Now knight e7, bishop d2, knight f8, rook a e1, bishop c7, c4, knight a6. Yeah, and this is the position that we have, and it is all theory. Once again, it is all still, well, no, wait. Oh, no games. No games here anymore. Okay, so what was the surprise? The c4 move. The c4 move is a surprise. Okay, well, interesting. Well, thank you, Katerina, for showing us something new. I think both me and our viewers will remember this idea. So c4, 96, and now bishop e3. And yeah, computer will always give here advantage to white, but the position is very much playable for black, and it is more about how you understand it. One thing I would add, normally when you go to this line with black, I would say that you want to create an aggressive play and you're looking for a game for 3 results. So you don't want to equalize. My strategy, I actually don't know what would be my strategy if I were on the place of Indian's captain, because this is the board 2. Now when we go to the board 3, we have no, this is the board 3. Yeah, this is now the board 4. Well, Kashlinska is, I think, the strongest board of Russia compared to India. So like there is the highest chance of India losing would be on the board 4. Then if, let's say, India hopes board 2 will score, board 1 makes draw, yeah, then board 3, Kulkarni, would also need to make a draw. But making a draw with the opening like this is not the right strategy. Well, all those things, yeah, predictions, they are they're pretty they're a little bit naive. Of course, you don't know how the game will go, but sometimes you can anticipate in chess. You can anticipate, you can choose the strategy, and the strategy is chosen within the opening. So all right, we will see. Anyway, who am I to judge? Let us just see what is happening here. And what is happening on the board 4? Okay, let's see from the beginning. The ready. Yeah, the ready is a great opening to play in Rapid and Blitz, especially online. But this is a 45 minutes plus 10 seconds rapid time control, which is almost like classical games. So, well, let's see. Many people have started to play Ready Listen 3 simply because they didn't find any advantage in all the other lines. So they are seeking for some complications in order to transpose to some other openings that you know better. And yeah, well, let's see. Bishop g2, bishop c5, knight c3, short castle a3. Okay. This is the position that we have right now on the board. It is pretty equal. White should develop the bishop somewhere like bishop f4, then bishop g5 probably. We have the queen, maybe then the rook to c1. It looks from one side really like Slav defense, exchange Slav, but here you understand that it's not the Slav yet because the pawn is on d3 and not on d4. Also, in Slav, it's not very common to have the bishop fianchetto like this on g2. Yeah, interesting thoughts, very much interesting thoughts. We see that surprisingly, for some reason, Kaczynska is the one who is thinking. Could that be so that she's out of her book? Well, I've already said it before on our broadcasts, and I'm repeating it again. With Kaczynska, you really do want to surprise her in the opening because this is how you might get a decent play because she's extremely strong in the openings. She knows so many ideas. She's super tricky, and yeah, this is actually a very good, very positive outcome for Team India. I would say on the board 4. I'm very pleased. If I were the captain of the Team India, I would be happy here. All right, we have just seen a6. I believe there's going to be a lot of play. And yeah, let's go back to Garashkina versus Harika. What do we have here? We do have some changes. Interesting. The last time we saw this game and we left was after Queen C2. I said Bishop B7 was the and C5. Yeah, Bishop C7 and C5 was the plan. So short castle, knight E4. Knight takes, bishop takes, knight F6. Ooh, wow. Queen C6. How interesting. Well, this is very, 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 very courageous. Queen takes C6. Okay. Has someone played like this already before? No, 0 games. Interesting. All right. All right. Could that be a home preparation from Garashkina? Let's go. Queen takes C6. Now rook B8, bishop D3, bishop B7, queen C2, and rook E8. Wow. So white has just grabbed the pawn. And what is the compensation for black? There are 2 bishops, but white also has 2 bishops. Well, white hasn't castled yet. That is true. White hasn't castled yet, but this is a pawn, and a pawn is a pawn. You know, I've heard some grandmasters say, well, if I don't see any reason why not to take a pawn, then I take it. Could that be so that Gresh can consider this reasoning in order to make her decision? Very much could be. So how are we evaluating this position? Well, we see the pawn. The computer gives half a pawn. This is interesting. Half a pawn meaning there is some compensation. We see 0.50 is the evaluation. Well, we can see like, yeah, even here, if I click on this, you will see plus 0.50. It means only half a pawn because pawn would be +1. White's next moves would be e4, and then black would play e5. Right. Okay. Well, there might be something. Let's say, oh, this is bad. Yeah, we cannot play. Oh, we cannot play bishop d2 because we lose a pawn. Let me show you. So if you take with a knight, then you lose this one. You're gonna be in trouble. And if you take with a queen, then you lose this one because there is only one attacker, one defender, and one attacker. Okay, that makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. Now next, if we so on bishop b4, we cannot play bishop d2. What can we play? So here we have something like king f1. So already we see some slight achievement for black. White didn't castle. Yeah, we ruined the castle, so it's an artificial thing. And all right, yeah, that could explain the decision to give the pawn away. But you know, something tells me it could also have been a bluff from Hark, like, I'll leave a pawn. You might take it, you might not take it, but let me see if you dare taking it. And then if you take it, then I'll figure out. That could that could also very much happen here. So if white doesn't play e4, and let's say I go with the most logical short castle, here we have immediate equalization after bishop takes f3 and pawn takes f3 and e5. Boom. And now we attack the center. This is called a pawn break, and white king is pretty weak. So this is, fully compensated, I would say. All right, so let us refresh. Bishop d2, bishop d2 is very wise considering everything that we mentioned above. So we prepare e4, we stop bishop f4, and we do not castle because there is bishop f3. That is logical. Now here we would expect something like rook c8 attacking the queen, and that would probably be the most logical, Okay, so this is the current position. Let us move on. We have Vaishali versus Kostanuk, board number 2. Last time we left them was this interesting idea in rule opus. Now knight takes, pawn takes. Okay, pawn takes. Queen f3. White decides to keep the queens aboard. interesting to avoid going to the endgame. Bishop c5, h3, bishop e6, knight d2, knight d7. Yeah, I'm remembering that that game that these two players had in round robin. Confirm me, please, if you see that or not, because I think Vershali was having a big advantage and didn't convert it, but was really, really close. Okay. Now here, what do we have here? So there is this queen, there is this knight, bishop and bishop. And the other bishop, well, White's problem is that bishop on c1 is not developed. Bishop on c1 is not developed, meaning it should, White should consider putting it into the space as soon as possible, would be the plan. Also, what I kind of like about this position is that White has the access to the c4 square. Well, you will say Black has access to c5 square, so what does it change? C4 is different because it can be supported by a pawn after b3. So I would say within this, let's say a4 and b4, I would say that White does have slight advantage here. I would put my preference to White, definitely. And this bishop, well, sometimes bishop can play from its own place and can also be pretty active. Well, it's pity for the rook, but okay. We still have time. Let us move on. Who do we have next? Board number 3. We have Lagno Katerina with white pieces. And remember that Caro-Kann lecture I've given to you? Yeah, in this position, I really love it. Let us see what is happening here. So we've got this 92 h5, short castle, h4, h3. Yeah, this was all correct. And Katerina came up with a very nice c4 move, which wasn't played before. Now we got knight e6, bishop a3, g5. Oh no! Everybody who is willing to learn chess, who is watching right now this commentary, in order to improve your chess, close your eyes. Please do close your eyes. This is not the move that you want to see, and this is definitely not the move that you want to consider in your own games. In fact, please, I beg you, never play like this yourselves, because this is a very, very dangerous decision for Black. It can be pretty much a harakiri one. You see here, g5, you get the pawn out of the king's protection, and king now is weak. The king is now naked. I mean, almost naked. There is only one, I don't know how you would call it, sock on the pair of socks here on the king's body. There is f7 pawn, if I can call it like this, but all the other things are absolutely open, and I do not like that. I mean, no, this is not how I would put it. I do not like it, like, from the viewer perspective. But if, let's say, you're an experienced player and you're a Caro-Kann player, then g5 is actually a correct sometimes way to play, because this is a move that suits to the plans. Yeah, if we have already pushed the pawn to h4, then sometimes we do push the g pawn, and we prepare g4, and also f5, and also f4. Yeah, well, once again, I'm a little bit surprised how fearless is Kulkarni. I am, and well, this is interesting. Like, it's not every day that you push your pawns in front of your king, attacking your opponent who is 200 points higher rated, who also happens to be grandmaster. Yeah. Okay. I really like it. Now let's see c5 and bishop b8. Okay, yeah, well, c5 is a decision that also I need to explain. Sometimes it can be strategically bad because you give away the d5 square. So if only we could, with Black, put the knight from e6 to d5 immediately, well, that would be a dream. But here, Hmm. Well, bishop b8 actually explains it because knight goes to c7 and then to d5. So yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. Um, Once again, computer will always give preference to white here because of the space advantage. So when we play c5, it's true that we give away the d5 square, but we also take under control the d6 square. And ideally, like let's say if black were to put the knights to d5, then white would put the knight to d6. Well, the problem is that for white it would take more time, right? Knight c3, knight e4, knight d6, and then there is the bishop and the queen. So it's not ready yet. Also, what I really like strategically wise from black in the move of g5 is that you take the control of the f4 square. And here the bishop cannot come and trade. And that would actually help to get the d6 square. So yeah, there are a lot of strategical ideas here. I really like this game. I think it is, for now, the most instructive one. Here we have bishop c4. Okay, bishop c4 is the move. And wow, well, I assume something like, is knight c7 too passive? Is that a move? Computer doesn't suggest it. Ooh. And I can see why. And I can see why. Look at this. How impressive. Wow. This is something that you can easily blunder. Wow. Oh, Katerina. Katerina is so tricky. Wow. Yes. Thank you, Chess BS, for pointing out. That is correct. Katerina is so tricky. And you know, I think bishop c4 was made as a prophylactics against this knight c7. Wow. Well, here the idea could be to play knight g7 instead, and then prepare bishop f5, or even bishop e6. As much as I said that white wanted to trade dark square bishop to go in order to weaken the d6 square, so black wants to trade light square bishops in order to get the access to d5. All right, that is very fair. Now, having concluded everything that is happening in this game, I suggest we go on a quick break, but please do not go anywhere because we will be back very shortly. welcome back to FIDE World Women's Team Chess Championship. And here we are with the finals. Today we will find out who is going to be the world champion. Either it's going to be Team Russia or Team India. What is your take on this one? Please do not hesitate to share with us your opinion in the chat, in the comments. And yeah, also please do vote because we will have a poll where you will have to choose India or Russia. Now let's go back to boards. Here, last time we left these games, we were discussing the game of Katerina Lagno versus Kulkarni Bhakti. Let us see what was the update. So we had this G5 move. Yeah, we have been speaking a lot about this move. I hope you got the answers on either this move is good or bad. And here, this is C5, Bishop B8. We've got Bishop C4 and King G7. Okay, King G7 is a little bit less precise than Knight G7. We can see that the evaluation bar is not happy about it. Well, yeah, could very much well be. Now we have some moves like, wow, crazy moves like F4, breaking through for white, but so hard to evaluate. Well, you will not be taking this pawn with a pawn because then it would open everything, but in fact it also works. Wow. So we got this bishop e6 here, and after, let's say, bishop or pawn, yeah, e6, we got this one, and then knight f4, and then queen g6. This is crushing. Just crushing. So here, let's say black would take on f4, then knight takes f4, and now g takes f4, bishop takes f4 would be a serious blunder because of the overload. Here, that's not what white wants. Here, white's idea is in fact to go very tricky, bishop f2, sacrificing your pawn, but saying, it's not about the number, but about the quality. And here, the quality of black's pawns is just ridiculously bad. All right, so this is not what happened. We've got here. No, but actually, this is not what happened simply because nothing has happened yet. Katerina is thinking, but yeah, concluding f4 is a very tricky idea, very dangerous one. And well, in order to do this move, you need to calculate. So it might be so that Katerina is calculating right now, trying to understand if or like what should she do in this position. And yeah, well, we'll see. Right. So this was board number 3. Let us go to Alina Kashlinska. Remember this position? I said it was looking like Slav. Yeah, here is interesting. It still is looking like Slav, but the pawn is still on d3 and not on d4, which would be in the typical exchange stuff. By the way, we do have a vote here in our chat, in our Twitch chat, who will win the Women's Team Chess Championship, Russia or India. Please do participate in this vote. Please do participate and leave us your opinion so that we know how are the supporters looking, or what are they are looking today, and what is their move. There is more their move. Yeah, what is their move? I wanted to say what was their move, but move is also, yeah. What is your next move? India or Russia? Please let us know. Getting back to this game, we had knight a4, bishop a7, b4, knight e7, bishop b2, b5, and rook c1. Ooh, tricky, Marianne. You see, b5, attacking the knight. But Marianne says, I don't want to waste any tempi. I'm gonna develop my rook and attack at the same time. And now if you capture this one, then you probably gonna leave your knight on c6 without any defense. And then black's pawn structure would be ruined. In fact, this would be a very, very bad position. So here, the idea of this rook c1 is that it allows knight c5. In fact, after, let's say, b5, knight couldn't go to c5 because it would lead to a pawn loss. Yeah, here and there, if we go rook c1 attacking 2 pawns, then we'll probably protect it with queen d6 or something, queen c2. I'm trying to make it work, desperately trying to make it work. But here, I wish I could suggest you to find this one, but I'm not going to make you wait. And this is bishop d4. Now on queen takes c6, queen takes, the bishop takes d4, so bishop takes b2, and everything is equal. And black is having a very big advantage because of an extra pawn. So that's why here knight c5 was a bad decision, would be a bad decision. And this is why rook c1 is a very intelligent thing to do. And this is what was played. So once again, well played, Marianne. Very small tactical trick that gives you something strategical. Yeah, you get a strategical outcome, of positive outcome of this tactical skill. Sometimes this is about it. You do not choose to be like tactical or strategical player. No, sometimes you just go with the flow, and then you find tactical ideas that help you to create a good strategical play. And this is about chess. Rook c8, and here we go, knight c5. Right, this is what we have. Well done. And now, as you can see, the pawn is protected by the rook. So this is going to be a good position. And also knight c5 is very, very strong because c5 is an outpost. And an outpost is a place of a dream for any light, any minor piece. And knight is not an exception to it. So yeah, an outpost, let me remind you, this is a square which is situated on the open file, protected by your own pawn, and that opponent's pawn cannot chase it, as we all know. Pawns do not go backward. So here pawns cannot go to like b5 to b6 or d5 to d6 to chase this knight. That is why this is extremely strong. So well played by Marianne. I really admire this decision. And we can see that so does computer. Computer agrees with us. He really likes this knight on c5. And so far, we do see a slight advantage for white. And that being said, we are about to take a very quick break because our co-host is right here, ready to join us. So let us be back together with Irina very shortly. welcome back to FIDE World Women's Team Chess Championship. We are in the finals, and I have never been so happy before to welcome my co-host, Grandmaster Irina Crash.
Thank you, Dina. I am happy too to know that I'm here just for the middle of the games of round one. Let's see what's going on here. We got India, a four-board match against Russia. How are their positions going?
Yeah, we have seen so far a lot of interesting ideas in the openings. Let me show you what is happening. So this is the board number one. We get Gorechkin versus Dranavali. This is the position that we have right now on the board. It all started from Queen's Gambit declined and then transferred to Semislav. And well, seems like the position is more or less equal. Here we have this spin. Black has very strong two bishops. Yeah, and one thing, the most important thing about this position is that Harika sacrificed a pawn on c6, but there was some compensation for it. In fact, there were some problems with the development, and I believe that is why now White had to give away this d4 pawn, and this is why now we see the material equality.
Yeah, so okay, first of all, it's nice to see that Harika has a bit of an edge on the clock. We know that that's unusual. What kind of moves come to my mind as black? Well, h6 is an obvious one, just because there's always ideas of e5 and bishop takes h7. So h6, it's kind of hard to resist because it's that obvious, and it just can't really be that bad of a move, I would say. Okay, so there's that. What else do we have? We have rook bc8, rook coming to open file. What does that do? Does that help or hurt white?
Yeah, let's say
Well,
h6. We've got bishop takes f6, queen takes f6, and now let's do something like rook f e1.
yeah, protecting
Wow.
the pawn.
Yeah, I favor black here, to be honest, with these super strong bishops.
Yeah, I mean it's like it's not obvious like what white's plan is. I suppose on rook bc8 they'll go like queen a4 or something. I mean white's solid enough as long as they keep the bishop on b7 blocked. So yeah, I mean this is definitely a round equal, which I think is a good situation for Harika. So let's see what's going on board two.
All right, so we have board two here, Vashali versus Kostyuk. And when I was to introduce this match, I somehow gave a preference here to Vashali. I would actually call her the most dangerous opponent from Indian's team to Russian players. And I was curious to hear your take on this matchup.
Yeah, no, it's definitely not a matchup where, Vaishali is too much of an underdog. I mean, of course, she's an underdog in terms of experience. I mean, Kostyuk is one of the most experienced players out there, someone who's played, world championship matches and won world championships and world cups and, won Olympiads. I mean, hardly anything that she hasn't won. So, from the point of view of experience, Kostyuk is certainly uh, the favorite. But like we know, we've seen Vaishali and we've seen her have good positions against Kostyuk before. Again, we see the time situation being a bit of a factor, but at least it's the end game. I mean, that's important. Like 17 minutes for this type of end game, I think is not too bad. But she has to figure out how she's defending the a5 pawn. So she went to bring her knight to c4. Okay, but that didn't quite work because the b3 pawn is weak. So now she has to think, can she take on c4 or c5, bishop c5, knight c4, bishop d4? I would probably try that. I mean, because, okay, I'm going to say that my knight's pretty good. I agree that your bishop's really good, but I'm trying to make a draw. And I think at this point in the game, white's trying to make a draw. I don't think that they can actually say that they're better. I mean, especially when I see this knight on c5 and you just like can't move your knight at all. I mean, I suppose we can look at some lines where you try not to take on c5. Um, because, yeah, this one after bishop d4 is just quite nice for black. But yeah, knight c4, knight b3, and knight d6, exactly, like something like that. What is happening here?
The only move is c takes d6,
Hmm.
and then we need to move the rook away. And this is, yeah, interesting. Very different from what we had just before. Still equal, but I assume there is a lot of creativity here.
Yeah, I mean, okay, here white is happy. I mean, they've kept their bishop on e3. So in fact, like if you know, if she can calculate that and evaluate that, I would think I would go for this line. Knight takes b3, so knight d6. So she's not going to be she's well, let's count the pawns at the end of all of that and see how she's like where the compensation exactly is for what she's sacrificing. So knight c5, knight c4, Dina.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so let's go with knight b3.
Yeah. Yeah,
Knight
knight
takes
d6.
d6, c takes d6,
c6.
rook
Uh-huh.
c7. You
Okay.
are taking on a5. I'm taking on
Yeah.
d6.
So basically, the compensation in this position is really, first of all, the very good bishop on e3 that holds f2 and just kind of controls all the dark squares. And he's actually superior to the knight here, which is kind of the opposite of what we first tried to do with bishop c5 and giving black the superior bishop. Um, so here, I mean, okay, I mean, obviously white is still playing just, I think, for a draw. I don't think they can possibly be better in this situation down a pawn. It's yeah, it's not like, I mean, I have to say it doesn't look like fun anyway. I mean, like, rook a2. It's, I mean, you know that white's playing for a draw, right? So probably white can make it, but I can see that it's not actually a very simple decision for Vaishali here.
All right. Yeah, that is very much concluding. Well, I would add that knight c4 I really like. He's been protected by the pawn. This is an outpost, and I would prefer this knight on c4 to the bishop on c5, to be honest. But now I see that the bishop can come to d4. It
Exactly.
kind of
So he's not
changes
going to be on
my
c5 for too long. Yeah, he's going to be
yeah.
on d4. He's going to block the rooks. And they can even play c5 to completely entrench that bishop against any sort of f4 ideas. I mean, not that f4 is very dangerous, but like, the bishop is going to be strong in this position because he's going to be in front of the pawns. Even if you put all those pawns on dark squares, the bishop has dark squared white pawns that he can attack. So he definitely, compensates, I think, for,
Yeah.
White's rather strong knight on c4.
Yeah, and we already got the moves. We have this knight c5, bishop takes c5, and bishop takes c5. So now we expect knight c4, and then we will see bishop d4 most likely.
Yeah, it's very understandable that she went for this. I think it's definitely the human approach. It was the first thing that came to my mind. I mean, not giving up material, not, whenever you give up material for compensation, it's always very tricky and you really have to evaluate and calculate more. This one is more of like a simple approach. Um, you know, well, I really feel like this bishop is very good and in a way I like him more than the knight. But White's solid as well. So I think, yeah, her decision is fine, and we are ready to move on to the third board. Are we going to see any imbalances so far? Because so far, it's kind of nice for us. All the positions are equal.
Yeah, that is true. So here, Lagna versus Kulkarni. I was super excited about this position because this was my favorite Caro-Kann. I don't know how much familiar you are with this line, but I was saying that it became popular, let's say, something like 4 years ago with this h5 idea here with this knight f6 line. And this is what we've got. And here, g5. Yeah, g5 was, my point was that it is a move that comes with the flow of the position, but it's definitely not the move that you would recommend to any beginner when he's watching our commentary, because you should never, like, normally you should never push the pawns in front of your king. And here we've got this situation. Here, Katerina made a very tricky move, bishop c4. The idea is to stop the knight c7, come to d5. This is the normal way, because there would be, boom, queen g6, surprise. And here the computer was giving knight g7, idea of keeping the control of the position and keeping the position more or less equal. But Kulkarni made this king g7, and starting from this moment, apparently white is having a very big advantage, and these are the updates that we see here, and this is the current position, and we do see a lot of advantage on the evaluation bar. Also, one last thing I'm going to say about this position is that f4 was also the move that we were considering before Katerina played it, And she did eventually play it.
Yeah, I mean, F4, definitely the main idea. You got to open up that file and get to Black's king. And it's kind of funny, you cannot really take on G5 yet, I think, because, well, I don't want to say you cannot, but, you have to worry about Queen H2, King F2, and getting your king chased out, and then maybe Bishop G3. So, I mean, in general, of course, you're interested in taking, but the reason Black has set up this battery of the bishop and the queen is to try to stop it. Yes, I mean, I think, overall, Black has played very suspiciously, and this move G5 did not really inspire me with a lot of confidence. Normally you do moves like that. First of all, when you're stronger in the center, maybe the center is closed. Black didn't really have those conditions at all. If we kind of just go back a couple of moves just to look at under what conditions Black played this move. Um, so first of all, White is super centralized. White has the extra pawn in the center. White even has the rook in F1, you know, and then you're trying to attack White. Despite, missing that pawn in the center, not really having, any control, it really feels dubious.
Yeah, well, there is also the idea of g6 here and then playing something like f5, probably blocking, creating the barrier against the bishop on d3. And one thing I was saying, normally with this h4 pawn, you kind of are looking forward to push the pawns, and here it's probably the question of how to push them, and maybe you need to be like pretty concrete and a little bit careful when pushing them, but you do eventually push them after all.
Yeah, you push them or you just stay solid and try to deal with White's, D pawn and not let that pawn really become too strong. So yeah, I mean, let's see the current position on the board. How is she going to avoid losing this? Um,
One more thing that I wanted
mhm.
to hear your opinion about, Irina, is that this opening choice for me does not necessarily suit to the current situation in the tournament, because Kulkarni is, let's say, an underdog here, and she's playing black. So shouldn't she have come up with something more solid in the opening? Isn't that the line that you kind of do choose when you need to play for a win, and then you are like super ambitious?
Yeah, well, I think really it depends on her opening repertoire, right? So, I think I would have to answer that question properly. I'd have to really see what she's got to work with, because it's always nice to say in theory, well, you should play the Petrov or the Spanish or something, in a situation where you want to be solid, like what Shenina did. Like we praised her choice against Lano yesterday with Black, and she made a draw without many problems. But again, the Petrov is a part of Ushenina's repertoire. So she was able to go to something solid like that, without much of a problem. Now, Kulkarni, I don't know what other choices that she had. I'm not so familiar with her as a player, haven't played her before. So perhaps the Caracan is just her main choice. And I think this line with Knight of Six, yeah, it's a little bit dubious, but for this semi-classical time control, I would say it's a playable choice. Yes, I think, and also it depends how much of a surprise was it for Lano. Again, we would have to really know Kulkarni's repertoire to know, is she surprising her opponent? Is she counting on that surprise value of this decision, or this is like something that she does all the time, and Lano just had a chance to prepare. That would be, those would be the key questions for me to really answer this question, like how good of a choice is it? Of course, right now her position doesn't look inspiring, and it's not like Lano had to do anything too special to get here. I mean, she did very logical things, and Black's king is, I mean, in a lot of danger. I mean, like one day, first of all, I have to say the move d5 is just coming, right? Even if we're looking at the board right now, d5 is an absolutely humongous threat that, if White gets it in, it could just, ends the game.
Yeah, it is also very typical move for such position. Well, Arena, I really like how flexible is your answer to that question of mine, and well, it is indeed a very, very good point that you have there. Okay, let me show you what is happening on the board number 4. And here we've got Mary and Gomez facing Alina Kashlinskaya. And yeah, well, last time we left this game, I'll show to our viewers, we had this position that was really looking like a Slav exchanged, with the only difference that the pawn, white's pawn, is on d3 and not on d4. Well, also bishop on g2. Fianchetto bishop is not like the thing that you see in the exchange Slav every day. And here there was an interesting situation that this knight a4 and b5, we've got here an amazing rook c1, a tactical way to create a strategical outcome, I would say, strategical benefit, because here we attack the knight, so black cannot take our knight, and after rook c8, we've got the chance to come to c5, and I said c5 is an outpost, and any knight should go to an outpost as soon as possible if there is one like this in the position, and look what it got to white. They really managed to build a very strong position with a very solid advantage, and also I was expecting board number 4 to be the weakest, so to be like subjectively to be the weakest of India, and here I'm very much surprised to see already +1 is such a great outcome from the opening.
Yeah, no, this is giving India some hope. So I mean, I'm also happy to see we have a board like this. You know, we we want the match to be interesting. We know that India is going to suffer on board 3. They do need a win here, and then let the other boards 1 and 2 kind of go as they will. And yeah, you know, at first I was like, when I saw this position, at first I didn't quite see the problem for black, but after the move bishop c3, everything becomes very clear about what white wants to do and where white plans to win this game. So white plans to win this game on the queen side, and they're going to play rook a1 or some version of that. They're going to want to play, basically, they want to play the move a4 without allowing b4. Of course, they cannot let black, you know, close up the queen side, but they want to go a4 and open up the queen side. And so they're going to have to prepare it. It could actually be rook b1, rook b1, rook b2, rook fb1, and start preparing a4. The thing is also that black is lacking counterplay in this position. And I just realized one thing. I mean, in some situations, black might want to play a5. Did she play queen d2
Yeah,
on the
queen
board?
d2 has
Yeah.
just been played.
I was just thinking about that exactly. To stop the move a5, you know, black will probably play some kind of a queen c7, because black, you know, seeing white's plan might actually try to do something where they, but you know, it's hard to play a5 because if white doubles up the rooks and then goes bishop f1, they simply have more pieces to attack that b5 pawn with. So, so yeah, like the problem is the counterplay for black. If they go e5, they're going to be opening up white's bishop on g2 to become a really strong piece. So that has a big downside. So then their bishop on a7 just sits and does nothing. Yeah, this is a huge, huge strategic advantage for white. I mean, bishop pair, protected pass pawn on c5, giving white more space, and also a very clear plan of where they want to play.
Mm-hmm. And here we've got queen c7, having some hope to push a5, but I believe black will not have enough time for that. Let's say we do something like rook b1, or as you said, rook a1.
No, no, rook b1, rook
Rook
b1.
b1, okay. And now on a5, we've got to have
Rook
simply rook
b2.
b2, and then doubling the rooks, and then attacking the b5 and saying that this pawn is a dead pawn, and we're gonna win this pawn. Yeah, nice. Oh, we've got rook a1 in
a1.
the game.
Okay, it doesn't change too much. You know, it doesn't change too much because, you know, once white gets black to play a5, they can always um, double up on the b file, I think. So it's fine, not a problem. You know, I think they're trying to provoke black into playing a5 themselves to weaken that pawn. Yeah, no, I really like white's position. It's so nice to look at it.
Absolutely. Okay, well, that means we have made a tour of the boards. And well, yeah, our guess is that Lagna on board 3 might win, and 2 other boards could finish in a draw. And the hope for India would be once again this board 4. Now, Irina, which game would you like to stick to for now?
Yeah, let's go back. Board one, just cycle through them all again. So let's see what Geryachkina and Harika are doing.
Here we didn't
Um,
have so many moves after all. We got this h6. Now bishop h4, rook bd8, rook f e1, and queen e6. This is the actual position on the board, and we see that with those last moves, white gained some advantage.
hmm. Okay, on e5, there's bishop takes f3, because at first I was wondering if e5. My very first thought was, is e5 a problem? But there's bishop takes f3, and the queen can take on e1 always. Yeah, I mean, she what's the problem for black? I mean, I don't know why that rook is on d8. I don't know 100% why that rook is there. But I guess it's there to protect the pawn. Yeah, but it's also in a pin itself. So
So
that's the.
let's say here, wow, Irina, what an amazing
Oh, let me
point
come up
you
with some
have.
ideas. Yeah. Oh, can I try to come up with something? Hmm. How bad is like g5 and knight h5? Let's take a look. I mean,
Wow.
I know it's a little
Wow.
it's a little suspicious, but things like that can work. Knight h5.
You probably
I
learned
mean,
that from Kulkarni.
exactly. I learned that from Kulkarni. Yeah, okay. It's a bit suspicious. The computer not too much in love with my idea. Yes. What is that? E5 and no, that
Computer
one we lose
doesn't
a
have
piece.
any feelings, so
Yeah. No,
he
that one
wouldn't
I think
be.
we lose a piece after pawn takes d6, and we might just be going home after that. Okay, hold on. What's going on with the e4 pawn? Is there any situation under which we can take it? Like, let's say bishop takes g3.
Yeah, here in fact, the most interesting thing about it is that computer does like your g5.
Yeah,
Now
I mean,
h
because this,
takes.
I think it has to do with the e4 pawn. I mean, okay, bishop takes e4. First of all, it's actually a move, right? Let's play bishop takes e4.
Bishop takes e4.
Yeah,
Now bishop takes c4. You've gotta go queen takes
queen
c4,
takes.
and yeah, you
You're fine.
equalized.
Yeah, you're
You
equalized.
equalized. Wow, amazing. Great job. This is exactly what Harika needed in this game.
Yeah,
Wow.
very forcing line, and just trying to like solve the problem right away of this e4 pawn before white gets a chance to protect it. So she didn't quite, she didn't make those forcing moves, and now obviously it's a lot harder to win that pawn. She still has, I suppose, g5 ideas, but yeah, it's not going to be exactly the same. So, but okay, yeah, I mean, it's fun to try to solve some problems yourself even when you're not playing.
No, that was a
And
great decision. Great decision. So g5 would be the move. And after bishop g3, what was the like? What would be the reason why Haruka didn't do that? Uh, could that be so that she simply didn't consider g5 as an option because she's a solid player and doesn't want to open her king?
yeah, that's one of the reasons. Yeah, I mean, it's always a matter of calculation, right? It's just like, can I take the e4 pawn? And you see that on rook fe1, you have bishop takes d3, the tactics work out, and then it should be okay for you. Maybe she didn't see the necessity of that. I mean, it's not like g5 is the only move, but I have a strong feeling like when I'm in a pin, I always want to get out of a pin, you know? So that's why, and always, kind of valuing the forcing moves in the position, and that's g5. So yeah, well, right now we have, I think, something. I mean, even though it says that white has a bit of an edge, I still think it's, let's say, it's not clear enough that Harika has to worry all that much at the moment.
You know what
So
is surprising to conclude? Even here, g5 was possible instead of queen e6. But all right, queen e6, and yeah, we were saying that. We were
yeah, I'm
saying that.
saying. Mhm.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm saying like even if this was not objectively the best, it's still, I think, in the realm of playable with like the amount of time that they have. I'm not like 100% sure that Geryachkina is going to, be able to, let's say, show why this has been suboptimal.
Hmm. I like the way how you put the things here. All right. Well, um, I suggest it is time for us to take a short break and be right back to action. I believe soon we will be approaching the time travel. That means the most exciting part is going to start very, very shortly. welcome back to the finals of FIDE World Women's Team Chess Championship. I'm one Grandmaster Dina Belinka, and here we are with Grandmaster Rina Crush. And the games are getting to the most exciting part of it. Almost everything is exciting, but look at this pawn on d2. Isn't that exciting?
Yeah, it's exciting, but maybe more exciting is White's rook on the 8th rank, pinning pinning Black's pieces. The pawn on d2 is just about the only nice thing about Black's position. There's not a lot else that gives hope, I have to say. Um, yeah. So what else? What can White do here? I mean, White can obviously take. No, they cannot take an f4 because that allows Black to queen. So don't do that. Actually, what if we do the primitive, very primitive, and perhaps not so good, but we can try it. Rook d1. What happens if we just try to win that pawn?
Rook d1, all right.
Yeah, like I know it's.
Wow.
Oh, look, the
Here
computer hated
comes,
my move. Great, great. Yeah,
yeah,
but we have
here
to see
comes
why.
something. Knight
We have.
xc5.
Yeah, look, let's go knight. Well, let's go first of
Oh,
all. I
pawn
want to
takes
know what
c5.
what happens if I take with the pawn. I guess it's knight
Pawn
e5.
takes.
I have some feeling like maybe bishop e3 or
Knight e5.
yeah, or not. I mean, there was something there actually, Dina. There's some good moves
Bishop
that Black has.
e3. Checking the king. Now
Yeah.
let's see king moves to the normal
Oh, bishop
position.
a6, bishop a6.
Wow, what a trick. What a swindler. Ooh.
Yeah, look at that double bishop checkmate.
Wow, attacking the rook, and when the rook takes, then we got this. Ooh, boy, this is a checkmate. Very beautiful, amazing.
Yeah, there are
But
some ideas. I mean, of course, she doesn't have to go to f1. She'll go somewhere, yeah, the other way.
but
I'm
you
still,
one
yeah.
really needs to be careful for to watch out for this tactical trick. You can easily be blundered.
Yeah, yeah. But
And
I
look at
mean,
this one. Look at this one, Irina. Bishop to g4. Ooh, attacking the rook. And leaving
that's
once
very
again.
nice.
Yeah. Let's see, rook takes
Beautiful.
e8. Then we got this one, and we are good. Here, black is totally fine.
Yeah, black is fine. And why is black fine? What happens on rook
Rook
d8?
d8.
Yeah, there must be something like, some 95 stuff.
95. Yeah, there is full compensation for an exchange here. Wow, what how fascinating.
Tactically, yeah. Okay, well, this is very interesting to see if maybe Kulkarni can make some tactics work over here. I mean, with less than 9 minutes on the clock, I think it's possible. I mean, at least Katerina's going to have to be a bit careful. I'm glad I managed to find some lines that are just bad for for white, with my natural moves in the game. So she's thinking, right? So let's try to find a good move for Katerina.
Yeah, all right. So we got it here. Rook d1 has just been played. No way. It loses all the advantage.
You go. See,
Wow.
me and Katerina, like we're thinking alike. Yeah. Well,
Wow.
Rook d1 is a very human move. It's like the first question that comes to mind. What happens when I attack the pawn? And those tactics and the position are pretty cool. And I think there's a chance that Kulkarni is going to find them. And the reason is because she has to find them, because it's like, well, she either just kind of goes down losing the pawn, or she's going to find something. So there's a chance. I mean, it's not simple, but it is possible. So let's leave it at that and let her. I'm sure she's going to be thinking for a while here. She's got a lot to think about. And let's go on to the games of the chess queen.
Yeah,
Um,
Alexandra Kostyuk
yeah.
versus Vaishali. Wow, what happened here? Vaishali is an exchange down. Oh boy, from that completely normal, completely equal endgame, let's take a look. We left it here after knight c4. We said bishop would go to d4, and yeah, we were saying that everything was more or less calm here. And look at what happened after some trades. Wow, f5 pawn break. Now, oh no, oh
Oh,
no,
wait.
it
Let me
is a
hold on. Yeah,
blunder.
hold on. Don't tell me why. Let me figure it out. So bishop e5. Sorry, rook d5 was a blunder, right? Rook d5.
Rook
Okay,
d5 is a
let's see
blunder.
why it's a blunder. Hold on. Oh, okay. Right. So she just let them take on e4, rook f4, king e5, and rook f5, and she just gave up the exchange like that. That is sad. That is sad. Oh no, and she has no time.
Ooh.
why did she? I mean, that was a pretty simple. That was a pretty simple thing. Yeah, that's what I mean. This is the one minus in her play. Is like she gets low on time, and then anything can happen. And of course,
Yeah,
that's
I was trying to recall that game of theirs. Wasn't it in round robin stage where we had the exact same scenario? I mean, the different scenario, but where Shali was playing against Kostyuk, was having a big advantage, but lost it all in the time travel.
yeah, that's what happened. And Kastanuki even went on to win that game from
Oh
like a
yeah.
bad position. And so, okay, let's see what happens. So, like, what should she have done instead? I mean, we understand this move is a blunder, but like, what should she have played instead of Rook D5?
Yeah, this is a good question. So here we've got different options and all of them are safe. Like you can put the rook, second rook to d1, for instance. You can take on f5, you can play rook d8. Yeah,
Yeah.
almost everything is
There was
possible.
actually no real big problem. I mean, White Black was not actually making any threats because the knight on c4 is so strong here, that even if your king gets pulled out to e4 and there's a check on f4, you just go king e3. And I mean, yeah, you're still fine. So um, that was really an unforced error, I would say. Nothing, White was not under a whole lot of pressure. And that's what makes that, mistake all the more sad.
Correct. I do agree with you on this one. Now we've got rook d5, f takes c4, king takes c4, rook f4, king e3, rook takes d5, and this is what we have here. Looks completely lost. Oh, this is a very big disappointment for Team India. Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, we
yeah.
expect resignation very soon because of the G pawn. And we already have the result. Kostyuk won. Wow, chess queen cannot stop. But
I have
um,
to tell you, I mean, I'm not completely surprised. I mean, okay, again, I think this is more of, Vaishali's loss than Kostyuk's win, this particular, event that just happened before our eyes. But I did have a feeling that after yesterday's loss to Maria Muzichuk, Kostyuk would be quite angry today. And, her opponents were going to feel that. So, yeah, I think it's a good start to her day. I mean, winning with the black pieces and delivering a big point for her team. Like that could be the point that swings it Russia's way. Well, let's go take a look at board three. Oh, her India not looking too excited. Now that's Marianne Gomez, though, right? I mean,
board
uh,
four, you mean?
yeah. Well, that we had a picture of Marianne Gomez on the cam. Yeah, we had her. She's looking very stoic in that picture. I don't know. How's her actually? Let's see how her position is going. I mean, is she
Yeah,
just more
she did
time?
everything that you predicted. She did open the. She did play on the queen side. Kaczynska tried to create some attack with an H pawn marsh, but Kaczynska doesn't have enough pieces on the queen side. And here we've got this. So for now, pawn is still alive, but it's gonna fall, and that means an endgame with two bishops should be very much favorite for white. But Kaczynska is extremely dangerous when she has the opportunity to attack. Well, this is the only blend that she can do here, and she's going for it. And I think on practical level, this counterplay can be pretty much annoying.
Okay, so she let's say she plays queen g5. I agree. Let's take a look. Thing is though, how dangerous is it? Yeah, I mean, here's the thing though. What if I take an a3? If I just okay, I guess actually wait, hold on. I can probably bring back my light squared bishop. Let's take an a3. Let's show the ideas in the position.
Okay.
Pawn takes, bishop takes, right?
Yeah, so you're gonna go with pawn takes,
Yeah, and I'm just
h
gonna I
takes,
was interested in just pawn takes.
bishop
Uh,
takes.
yeah, bishop takes and pawn takes. Yeah.
Ouch. That's gonna be a perpetual, no?
I don't know. Is it
Ooh, this one is beautiful. Not queen g3, one would think, but queen e3! Exclamation mark.
king g2
Uh-huh.
and queen e4 or something? Or knight d.
No, it's gonna be a knight. Well, this is super concrete. This is super concrete.
I was wondering. Okay, like yeah, I guess because you have the f3 square coming, it looks like you're going to have very good chances to get the perpetual. Okay, well blindly allow her opponent's ideas to be carried out. So now that we see that it's dangerous on queen g5, let's figure out something else for white. I love to do some prophylactic thinking, and queen g5 is on the board. Big moment for Marianne Gomez. And, huh.
Okay, queen here is still possible. And after bishop g3, we've got a choice. In fact, here it's, well, it's not human.
Yeah,
It's
king
not human.
f1 or something, or
Yeah, at the king f1, you can attack the knight, which is by the way idea, even instead of capturing on a3, just attacking the knight. Wow, and seeing that this
yeah,
is
that's
not
really hard to
dangerous.
play though. That's really hard to go for.
That
I
was
don't.
exactly my point.
Yeah, psychologically, I don't think this is what's going to happen. I mean, she's going to look for some way. So first of all, there is an interesting move, king g2. Shall we look at that?
King g2.
Now, maybe,
Wow.
you're still going to sack probably. You're still going to sack and take on e3, I think.
And bishop
Oh,
takes g3, correct?
yeah. Still completely unclear. If I take, you take on e3, and I mean, it's exactly the kind of mess that, black wants.
Absolutely.
It's actually the same position at this point. Okay, so let's go back.
Correct. Queen g5.
Mhm.
Yeah. Well, good thing is that Marianne has 2 minutes more than her opponent, and she can use them right now because it is pretty much critical moments, or at least critical moment to choose the right plan.
Yeah. I mean, it's very tricky. It's kind of annoying for her, and I understand that in a way. Like, she might actually have to let that sack happen and then just not take the bishop. Um, what about like bishop b5 here, like right here? I
Yeah,
think,
bishop b5 is the idea that computer suggests as well. And here the point is, if you take this all thing, then you're gonna go with saying bye to your knight. No way. No
what's
way.
happening here?
There
What's
is still some some counter attacks
really?
here. 2 pieces down because you cannot. Oh
You can never go
my
to the second
boy!
rank.
Look at the evaluation. Once computer gets into this position, he understands that in fact it is a perpetual because king cannot go up because of the queen. Has to stay on g2.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah, that's a nice. Well, first of all, that's really nice counterplay. That is some powerful counterplay from black, and I can tell you that it's not a great feeling for white because you've strategically outplayed your opponent. You're very close to winning, and then they start making these tricks, that are okay. She's actually about to make a move. What is she going to come up with?
Yeah, that is
She just
interesting.
she I did what did she just play on the board?
I'm
Let's see.
trying to understand. This is not her that we see on the cameras. This is not her.
Yeah,
It's,
that's not her board. That's not
yeah.
the board that she has because there's no rooks on the board. She played f4.
F4. Oh no. Oh no.
Yeah, so f4, I mean, okay, well, I mean, that weakens the king a lot. I mean, I guess on queen g4, she wants bishop e2, but
Queen
I am not
g6.
convinced about that at all because then there's
Look at the
queen
bar.
h3 and yeah, queen
Oh
g6 was
boy.
played. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, what are you gonna do now? You certainly don't want to take because there's gonna be a capture. Wow.
Yeah, no,
This is
f4 just felt like it was a little too direct to really solve the
ouch.
problems.
Here I have a feeling that Kashinska might even win this game.
I
And
agree.
I wanted to comment on this one from the personal perspective. We have been playing with Alina quite a lot because we were of the same age, and I remember Alina even from my very first Russian girls under 10 championship, which she won. And I finished fourth or something. But Alina has always been extremely resourceful, and in all those positions where she was being in trouble, let's say strategical trouble, she was always coming up with those ways to swindle, to complicate, and to create the attack, always with a direction on the king. And psychologically speaking, many opponents have been really like cracking. Yeah.
Well, you know what? This is very helpful to know, Dina. In case I ever play Alina in the future, I will take your psychological profile and really keep that in mind. It's the kind of thing is actually what you said. It's very useful information to know about a player. You
Yeah,
know.
so this is a very typical explanation where the opponent, oh, sorry, not the explanation, the situation, where the opponent of Alina needs to keep that cold blood and to see that there is like no attack. It's just like all, I mean, there are no fear, yeah. So there is nothing to be afraid of. You just need to keep the cold blood and to come up with like continue, let's say, taking exchange, accept all the attacks and just define way how to avoid, like, let's say perpetual, but accept the material that Alina is sacrificing. And many have been like panicking, and this is the very good example of that. I say this is a very typical situation.
Yeah, I mean F4. I just have to say it looked so wrong. It opens your king so much. It's like, I don't know. I think Marianne just yeah, panicked, or maybe thought it was going to be like she played this move like pretty confidently. I would feel not very confident about this move. I would be like probably just so unhappy to open up my king like that. um but okay, I mean, a lot can happen here. What's going on in Katarina's game? Because we know that maybe India will get some counterplay there. Did Kulkarni find something? Let's go back a few moves.
Okay, so we remember this pawn on d2. Now after rook d1, we said that Katrina lost all her advantage. We were expecting b takes c5, b takes c5, knight e5. That happened.
Yeah, there was
And
also bishop e3. She should have thrown
oh,
in that
bishop
check.
a3. She missed bishop a3. Okay, that makes sense. Bishop a3 was a very huge resource with the idea of that bishop a6. Wow. Imagine Katerina would blunder that. Ooh.
Yeah, I
So that
doubt she
didn't
would, but
happen.
yeah.
95. And here white is doing okay. Again, after 92. I mean, white is having again advantage. Well, you see, Kulkarni did see those ideas in the air because she played eventually bishop g4 using the same, how we say, a discovered attack, counter attack on the rook. But the move order was not
Yeah,
precise. And
probably rook
here,
d8 here. Oh, bishop. Ah, okay, that's also good.
and this is what we've got. C5 pawn has fallen. Now, well, there might be some actually chance to make a draw here for Kulkarni.
But yeah, there's chances to make a draw, but it's not fun, and they definitely need. Well, they need to win some games because right now, I mean, Kostyuk won. So what is going on in Harika's game with Garyachkina? I mean, that one is
All right.
Harika. Okay, she's active. She doesn't have
This is
much time,
interesting.
but actually she's up a pawn. Yeah, look at that. Harika is a bit, well, she's up a pawn, I say that, but that pawn could be captured. On the other hand, white's if white takes on a7, Dina, what happens there? Oh, then we can win. Oh, then if you
On
want to take the
a7, you
bishop, I
mean?
want to take on a7, yeah.
Then there
I
we
want to take
have d3.
rook d2. Of course, there's these back rank ideas. Like, for example, bishop f4. That's quite the idea.
Ooh, yeah, and you cannot capture because then you would lose it all after rook c1 and say hi to your king mate into.
Yeah, that back rank idea, I think, is very much a theme in this position.
Yeah.
It's actually nice to see Harika putting Garyachkina under some pressure.
Oh, definitely. Haruka is having an advantage. So, yeah, this game was super complicated. I guess Gaveshkina made a mistake somewhere. Imperfection?
Yeah, imprecision somewhere.
Imprecision, yeah.
But she overall, when I look at Garyachkina's position, it does feel like it got pretty passive. That black somehow was able to get more activity. Now it says Alina is losing again. Okay, let's go there.
Oh,
Let's
wow.
jump.
Tell
Let's
us
jump.
more about it. Queen
Yeah, guys,
g6, king f2,
in the chat, you can
h3.
really help us out.
Oh, h3. Look at this. Instead, black should have taken pawn. And then, wow, what this is, yeah, this
Maybe
is a
bishop
very big
f1 there.
result.
Maybe bishop f1, Dina, after h3. Maybe we should Because I mean, obviously, well, what black wants is to
Yeah,
go
this
queen
is what
d4.
happened in the game. I was just looking at the line where black could have continued with a good position, but here after bishop f1, this is exactly what happened, and here white is winning again.
Oh
Wow,
wow.
black didn't manage to create the
Yeah,
attack.
that is a surprise. Okay, so there's
Ooh.
still some tricks here, but obviously this is quite nice. I mean, is she gonna take on c6 and I don't
Yeah,
know.
what is interesting, if we take like queen takes c6, bishop takes c3, now we've got opposite colored bishops with the queens. And we know that in these situations, it is extremely dangerous for the side that has a weaker king. And here it's white who has a weaker king, because anyway, the plan in these positions normally is to attack.
Yeah, I mean, a queen b5 it's still quite interesting, but for white, but I agree that if she can avoid that, but it's on the board, so she played queen
Yeah.
a6, right? Yeah, it's very similar. I was trying to use that diagonal, go bishop d3. I mean, white's up a pawn here, but the most important thing is, of course, the passed c pawn, and that black does not have time for d4. They have to defend against bishop d3. So, like, let's say they go g6. I would assume something like this would happen. Let's say g6 happens. Now, should we just play c6, or is queen c2 something that needs to be defended against? Yeah, bishop d3 is good. Yes, you know what? That's a good one. Let's not
Now
let
queen
their
e2.
yeah, because they want to go queen d1, but how?
We can just
Yeah,
take control of it with queen a4.
yeah, there you go.
And there is no counterattack here so far. Well, maybe d4 just pawn takes.
d4 just maybe even yeah, pawn takes.
e4, I was worried of bishop d2, but
Bishop
there
d2.
would be queen takes. Bishop, yeah, the result. Wow. Wow. Nicely played.
Yeah, I mean, this is
Mm.
really important. I mean, Team India, if Harika can win and Marianne Gomez can win, they can have at least a draw, which would be great. I mean, Kulkarni hasn't, I mean, okay, she doesn't have a lot of time, so it is very tense in the time. So Queen C2 happened. I suppose Bishop E2, right? Oh, she went Queen E2. Okay. Well, she's going to be up 2 pawns. I don't know about that, but okay. Um, Also, her king, actually, she's going to take with the king on e2, right? And the h3 pawn will fall, and the king will come into the center. So queen e2 is a good move, sure. And right now, okay, well, she can pick off the h3 pawn, possibly, right? It's not a terrible idea to get rid of that pawn. On the other hand, okay,
She
that's what
has
she
just
did.
made it. Yeah.
Yeah, now, there are some ideas of bishop f5 check, and then you can either go like bishop c2 or queen c2, but like what happens on bishop b4 is what I want to know. Like, let's say, okay, black has a lot of moves here, but let's say bishop b4 and I want to try to win that pawn. What's
Okay.
what's the plan? Um,
We could actually.
because I don't want to lose that pawn. If I lose that pawn, the 4-on-3 is just not.
Yeah, but how are you going to protect it? There's
That's
bishop
what I mean.
g2.
Yeah, but
But you would trade it. And
yeah,
that
but
is not an easy thing
okay,
to
yeah, two.
win.
Okay, but actually, 2 extra pawns. Yeah, we
Oh,
can
yeah,
try to
two
win with
pawns
2 extra
still.
pawns.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe white should go for that. All right, let's go in Lano's position. Let's take a look. How's she doing?
Okay. I got it here. Now, this.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Mm.
What is this?
Yeah. So pawn on h3 is very strong. It doesn't let the king come in. So even if you go e4, king e2, it's always rook b5. Yeah, it doesn't look too good. Yeah, I agree. She has a lot more time. All right, let's go to Harika.
Yeah. Harika. Here. Whoa! Harika is having a very big advantage. Oh my god.
Go, Harika, go.
No way. Wow. It was just about -4 for Harika.
Okay, I don't know why
Wow.
she didn't go like queen f2 or something, but what is rook b2? It's a very strange move, isn't that? Oh, her queen f2. How her queen can't jump over the bishop. Okay, for some
Yeah.
reason I thought it did. All right. Well, they have no time. This is actually crazy. I mean, not great for either of them. Harika's up a pawn. The pawn's on d2 pretty strong. I guess she'll go bishop e3 or something. I don't know.
Wow.
You're not really probably threatening to take it. So I don't know. Bishop b4. Okay. Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's solid enough. You can do that. Just be patient. What's the plan to win? It's
Wow.
really hard to come up with something like, I don't know, queen c5, queen g6. Okay. Queen g6. Yeah, it's not easy. It's not easy to put this away.
Queen e6 now suggesting the queen trade also makes sense. You
Yeah, her rook
Grashka.
on b2. It's just like, what's the plan? She needs to try.
Yeah, what's the plan?
Needs to try. Okay, I like the queen on d5. This is a good step. That. There you go. So Harika has this clear plan of, okay, now she wants to win the e pawn.
Hmm.
And, just have ideas of maybe rook c2, maybe one day rook c1. I mean, she has ideas of rook b4 right now. Rook b4 is an immediate threat, winning the exchange. Okay, nice move, bishop c3. Love the centralized queen. I mean, I do believe in black's position with the centralized queen. So white basically can only move their queen around the board.
Yeah.
Yeah, look, this is someone who's really putting Goryachkin under pressure. It happened. It happened.
Rook
Rook
before
b4.
we're already winning the material.
That's game
Wow.
over.
That's a game over. Let us jump quickly to Kashlinska's game.
Yeah, let's do it. This is so fun. Okay.
So we've got this moves. Oh no. Oh no.
Only one extra pawn.
Oh.
Only one extra pawn is not good, Marianne. You were supposed to have
Oh no
two.
no no.
How did this
King
happen?
G2. King
How did
G2
this?
was the mistake.
So what did
King
what did Black play though? She played
King
King g8,
H1. King G
and then
King
she actually
G8.
played King g2. King g2 looks so bad.
Yeah, this is
It looks
completely
so
wrong
bad, so
direction.
bad. Why would you do that? Your king was good. Your king
Hmm.
was good, and your bishop wasn't doing anything.
Just lost the pawn. And now the worst thing that you have to trade this.
Yeah,
Oh
no, that didn't
no.
make any sense at all. Or Team India.
Oh
Not happy.
no.
Not happy with that move because it wasn't really that hard. It wasn't like a very difficult situation, like where you didn't have to go King g2. You weren't even under any threat. So just that is like very sad. And I don't know. I mean, now she has to win out of nothing, literally out of nothing at all. I mean, this is just not a winning position. But on the other hand, I'm really happy for Harika.
Well, Harika won. And how about
Harika winning with black
Lagno?
against Goryachkina? It's definitely an achievement, right? I mean, Goryachkina hasn't lost any games this tournament. She hasn't really been close to losing. And so I think that beating her is just really, really nice. And, at least Team India, first of all, gets that consolation. Like, even if they do lose this match, they're going to have that consolation from Harika.
Yeah, I recall something like from the time when I was commentating on Women's World Cup. I recall something like that game when Goryachkina lost to who did she? Danilan?
Oh, she did lose to someone on the way, right? She
Yeah,
lost to someone, but then she came back. Yeah.
Yeah, was it Danilan or someone, but she did lose like with white. That was the first time she lost with white within like something like a crazy period. Like I don't know, like maybe like I don't know, several years even possibly with white. Wow.
Yeah, so now we're gonna have so you said the Russian super final coming up soon, right, Dina? So we're gonna see Goryachkin in action there. It's gonna be interesting. And wow, what do we have here? So Lagno is still, on her way to eventually winning this h4 pawn. It's kind of miserable for black. Oh, Goryachkina lost to Stefanova, our viewers.
Yeah, Stefanova. This is what I thought. Yeah, Stefanova.
Yeah. If Bakhti draws, then I will be happy. Well, I would be happy too, Sarvash. Yeah, I can see why. I think you counted that would be a 2-2 draw.
Yeah.
Oh wait. Here, but this is an easy draw.
This is a theoretical draw, yeah.
So sad. Oh, Marianne, you could have just made at least made a little bit made Alina sweat a little bit more.
Yeah, Marianne could have, yeah, could have continued. This is the only game, last game that is played.
She
And
got
if
such a huge
Katrina,
chance, after H3.
if Katrina wins this one, then it's gonna be a win for Team Russia.
Yeah, but still, the point of view of providing excitement, I think India is definitely doing that, and
Absolutely, amazing job.
yeah, like right, this is the scenario on the board that I was afraid about. Like White's rook is attacking both pawns, and you just cannot protect them both. You're going to lose one. So poor Kulkarni. I mean, she is not going to be able to save this game. Yeah.
Oh, poor Kulkarni, and yeah, Marianne, such a big disappointment. Yeah, I think the biggest mistake was there once again when White played King G2. Like, you could feel that C6 pawn was falling, but instead you should have just attacked the D5 pawn, and then
Yeah.
even with the exchange of those two pawns, it would still lead White to 2 pawns up endgame, pretty much winning.
Yeah, with 2 extra pawns and the queens on the board, then you'd have something to work with.
Yeah.
This was a little too simple.
Mm.
We can go back for a second and take a look at that game and just see like how she could have played better, Marianne. We can go back
Yeah.
a bit more because this
So
one
we
is
got
pretty
this
clear.
bishop G2, or even earlier.
Yeah, even earlier. Well, King G8, but okay. I mean, so Bishop G2. What is she afraid about? Like
Perhaps
D4?
it was D4 that she was worried of.
Yeah.
Ooh, and I can understand it now that I see it. I can
What about
understand.
what about C6? What's
You
happening
gotta go
there?
C6, then they take.
Yeah,
You take it
queen
with a
takes.
queen, and you need to be careful. I mean, once again, you see it's about keeping the cold blood, not believing any fears and any demons. Here, for instance, Queen E2 doesn't work.
Right, but King F3 is interesting.
Yeah, King F3 is the move. Now we gotta check. You defend it this way. And then Queen here, we're gonna go active. Wow. Yeah, not an
Yeah, it
easy
was not
decision.
easy. It was not easy. Yeah, but
It's
okay.
definitely easier from the commentator's point of view. And Irina, we've got our results. It's official. Russia wins their match with 2.5 to 1.5 as Katerina Laganov finishes her last game of the match to a win.
Yeah, well, Team Russia is a strong team. They got, more than one board that can win games. Yeah. But still, congratulations to Harika for beating one of the highest rated women in the world. I guess after Hao Yifan, right now, Geryachkina is the next highest rated. It's a real accomplishment. Mary Ann, we put a lot of pressure on Kashlinskaya, and the middle boards. We just have to hope that they're going to come back and just put up a bit more of a fight against Russia's Kostyanyuk and Logno.
Yeah, well, we still have one more game and everything is gonna be decided there. The next round, the round 2, will happen in an hour, and that means that we are about to go on a break and be right back to you in, yes, exactly 1 hour, and the broadcast is gonna go offline. But please do not go anywhere, because the most exciting part is going to start very soon. And today we will finally find out who is going to be the winner of FIDE Women's World Team Chess Championship 2021.